First question came from Patricio. He said, "Hey, Ingraven, this is my first time leaving a message after a few months. Hope you're doing okay." Hey, we're doing really good. I hope you're doing even better, Pat. He said, "What do you think about the Patrick Queen situation? Do you think he deserves all this slander, or is it way too early to determine if he's a good player or not? Should we trade him? What do you think about that? Also, I was thinking if Patrick Queen keeps playing like this, and if Lele also keeps playing like this, do you think that we maybe should trade Stanley for a franchise linebacker? Hope you have a nice rest of your week and have a good day." Ooh, this is a loaded question right here to start us off. But we love it. We love it and we appreciate it. And I appreciate y'all. Now, what do you think about the Patrick Queen situation? Do you think he deserves all of this slander? Or is it way too early to determine if he's a good player or not? So with that part, I think, no, he doesn't deserve all the slander. Shout out to Coach. Shout out to Coach Evans, Sip to Tally, because he did a video breaking it all the way down about that actually highlighted how good Patrick Queen has been playing this year overall. There, of course, have been some hiccups here and there, but overall, how he's actually been having a much better season than a lot of people realize. But I think that with players, especially him being a first-round pick, I think that's what is sticking in a lot of people's heads. And, you know, a lot of times the bad can stick out more than the good, especially on defense. I was just listening to a clip from Richard Sherman the other day. He was talking to Mike Evans, and Mike Evans asked him, he was like, "What do you think is harder to play, wide receiver or corner?" And Richard Sherman said, definitely corner. Because a wide receiver, you could have a slow game, you could have a bad game, and it could be tough. But you can get a couple catches now, it'd be straight. But if you're a corner and you having the great game, you having a game of your life, you're strapping, you holding it down, the receiver ain't getting no catches on you, then all of a sudden, boom, they get one big catch on you. It's like, oh man, you suck, you're terrible. So I liken that to Patrick Queen's situation, because Patrick Queen, again, it's not the small stuff it's the big plays that have been sticking out. And I think it's the big plays that have been sticking out to everybody. And it's the missed plays, like the missed big plays, the drop picks. I know that's one of the biggest things that's been sticking out to everybody, because those are game changers. Those are game changers. It was the missed sack / tackle on that Josh Allen touchdown run the other day. Now, again, like Coach did mention, Patrick Queen also made an open field tackle all alone on Josh Allen. And then, of course, remember Patrick Queen, he got a sack. I think it was on Flacco a couple weeks back. So, again, there's been good plays now. There have been good plays. But I think with Patrick Queen, since Patrick Queen is known as, he has the rep as, in a lot of Ravens fans' mind, as the inconsistent guy. So a lot of people are still rolling with that. And he has shown inconsistencies, don't get me wrong. He certainly has. But again, it has not been all bad. But I think with being a first-round pick, say, for instance, Patrick Queen was playing like he was playing, and he was a third-round pick, and lower, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, any of that, then I don't think people will be tripping like that. So I think the first round pick status, I think that has a lot to do with it. Because if you're a first round pick, it's expected that you come in and you go off right away. And if not right away, that definitely by the second year. And in the third year, oh yeah, you definitely balling by. You a first rounder, of course you balling by then. But I think that is also a huge part of it, because a first round pick are usually, they should be plug and play players. And the Ravens, they plugged and played Patrick Queen. First year, he did his thing. Second year, that's a lot of more inconsistency. They really started. And they showed. And then they, like, early on in the season, those inconsistencies, they were big. But then they slowed down in the second half of the season when the Ravens had benched him. But then that allowed him to sort of play with more confidence. But he's been playing with a lot of confidence this year, too. And again, shout out to Coach, man. Shout out to Sip to Tally. Because he again, the video that he did that broke it all down, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. So, and it was nice to see a lot of the positive and the stuff that we may not initially catch. But with Patrick Queen, that's what I think it is, man. A mix of what have been the inconsistencies, but along with him being a first round pick. And with him being a first round pick, there's that added pressure. Not that you have to play perfect, but they like first round picks, they make those plays. They finish those big plays, those game-changing plays. That's why they got taken in the first round. So I think that's what really sticks out with people. He also said, should we trade him? No, I don't think the Ravens should trade him. But what I think the Ravens could do, they've obviously signed A.J. Klein. They keep bringing back Josh Bynes. Surprised they haven't brought back L.J. Ford. Like, why not bring back L.J. Ford if you bring back all these linebackers? But anyway, I think not even that you should trade him. I would say move him around though. Ravens have a terrible pass rush right now. Couldn't hurt. That's just me though. That's just me. But anyway, he said, also I was thinking if Patrick Queen keeps playing like this, and if Lele also keeps playing like this, should we maybe trade Stanley for a franchise linebacker? So, no, you can't. Stanley is not tradable simply because of his salary. It would be a lot of dead money. So Ronnie Stanley ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, this feels like a dream, and you know just what I mean. You see my boy, he like gotta made it. Boy, he's a fan and he like the Ravens, and you know just what I mean. You two team, keep it clean. You see my boy, he like gotta made it. Boy, that's my homie, ain't that right engraving.
Team, keep it clean. Welcome to another episode of Questions from Subs. Man, what a powerful way to get us started. First and foremost, shout out to the newest Team Keep It Clean patron, Isaac B. Like I said, for all the patrons and all the Team Keep It Clean channel members, I'm in the process of, because I had to reset my computer recently, so I have to do all the stuff over again as far as the list of patrons and channel members when your name comes across the screen. So we'll be back on that very soon. I promise y'all, but I just got to put that all together again. So just try to bear with me. Next question came from Nazarene. Said, what's good, fam? I just want to say that, man, some numbers I've seen for Bateman's targets and usage game are pretty horrible. Us getting that big name receiver is a bad idea under this coaching staff. I don't even have Bateman staying on this team if we don't change our system. We suck at using receivers. Oh man. I disagree with getting a big name receiver. I think that certainly would have helped because it would have given the Ravens more options. But like I've been saying this whole season, if they weren't going to get the big name receiver, all right, use your own. And when they've used their own, most of the time their own have come up and made some plays, like especially Devin Duvernay. Rashad Bateman has made some plays too. I know the last couple games been a little quiet, especially that Patriots game wasn't even quiet, it was loud, but it was loud in a bad way because there were the drops. Then he got hurt, and now who knows how long he'll be out for. I know some people tried to say, oh man, no, the walking boot is just precautionary, but I told them I was scared. And some people tried to say, oh, no, stop being dramatic. You're being dramatic, man. And Rashad Bateman has not practiced for the past 2 days. I'm recording this on Friday at 9:46 a.m. So will he practice on Friday? I doubt it. But hey, who knows? Maybe I was just being dramatic about the whole Rashad Bateman injury, and maybe it was just an extra precautionary by the Ravens. But anyway, like situations like right now is another reason why I wanted them to go out and get somebody else. But Ravens they're gonna have a lot to prove. They're gonna have a lot to prove with using their own guys. James Prochet, Devin Duvernay. This is a big opportunity for them. DeMarcus Robinson. They did just sign Riley Webb and Andy Isabella to the practice squad, so we'll see what happens with those guys in the near future. But yeah, the Ravens they got an injury to their guy Bateman. And I know you're talking about the usage. I mean, now you can't use somebody that's hurt. But yeah, Ravens do need to, even when Bateman comes back, even while he was in, they do need to get their receivers involved more. Need to get the receivers involved a lot more. We don't want it to be Mark Andrews or bust. Ravens can't afford that. So it's important that they really get those wide receivers involved. And it's okay to scheme receivers open. I know Harbaugh talked about, oh no, we don't scheme receivers open. We don't feel like we need it. No, it's okay to scheme receivers open. It's okay to come up with game plans for your wide receivers, for them to get involved. Oh, and another question that had came from Nazarene, which I completely missed. He said, "What's good, fam? Definitely enjoyed the last video. Had a lot of passion and fire questions in it." Come on, you know, have team keep it clean, be bringing it. He said, "Only question that I didn't like was someone discussing the Dolphins, the Lamar to Miami thing. Please stop it." But anyway, look, so I was thinking, after hearing your last video, right, and I thought to myself, from my understanding on football, great coaches make adjustments at halftime, even when they are up 2 touches or up a touchdown or a field goal. Great coaches don't just keep doing what they're doing, even if it's working, because the other coach will figure out your scheme. Well, if it's working, then that means the other coach ain't figured it out. But I see what you're saying, but it all just depends. But anyway, he said great coaches will see more weaknesses at the half and add more plays to attack the weaknesses that they have discovered during the first half. It's possible to dominate a team in the first half, but in the second half is where you take the team's heart from them. Am I lying? No, you ain't lying, because the Ravens, we've seen where they've dominated teams for the first half, and those teams actually came and took the Ravens' heart from them. So, yeah, shout out to the Dolphins and the Bills. Anyway, he said that's why when you are up at the half, you're supposed to come back into the start of the half and keep your foot on their neck. You finished them. Add more plays to your arsenal. Ingraven, why are our coaches so arrogant like this isn't the NFL? I've seen great coaches come out at half with a whole different way to dominate and take a team's heart away. We have the team to do so. I don't know why people act like we aren't stacked low-key. Weird to me. It all depends on what position you're talking about. Ravens do have they got a decent roster, but it all just depends on what position you're talking about. But anyway, he said, I don't be worried about the receivers because they are dogs to me. The eye test tells me they are dogs. Pass rushers are our weakness. And this is another weakness right here, run blocking. Boom. And I think that's a big contributing factor to the Ravens' lack of dominance too. The fact that the Baltimore Ravens, it's so weird to say it out loud, but the Baltimore Ravens, they cannot run the football consistently. They have not been able to run that football like that. So that is not the only reason for their second half, like just fall-offs, but that's a big part of it. But anyway, he said, I see people talking about protecting Lamar more. I'm more than certain they are blind. Lamar's line isn't bad, but that run blocking ain't looking good, fam. When Gus is back, the lineup, I think you should as well as me pay attention to the run blocking. People are noticing this. It's whispers of it. I don't like the run blocking, but the pass game is fire. But yeah, man, for the Harbaugh fans, y'all are right. Harbaugh is a good coach, but guess what? He isn't great. And if I was Lamar, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I wouldn't want to play under him as my head coach. I will even say this. Give me Eric Bieniemy as a head coach and keep G-Ro. No, I'm not a G-Ro fan because I think Eric will shine as a head coach, especially in situational football, and will check G-Ro when he's calling silliness. Now, if they hired Eric Bieniemy as the head coach, Greg Roman wouldn't even be there anymore. And that's really with any regime. No new regime that came in. We know it's not happening, but just speaking hypothetically, no new regime that came in would be keeping the offensive coordinator from the past regime. At least not with the Ravens. But anyway, he said, just use that as an example. I'm not a Lamar super fan. I'm a Ravens fan first. But like I said, if I'm him, I wouldn't extend with the Ravens if Harbaugh is my head coach. I wouldn't want my coach to be my friend. I would want him to help me elevate my game. See, that's with that part right there. I would like somebody to do both. Now, if somebody cannot do both properly, if they cannot both be your friend and be your coach, if they can't be your friend and challenge you, okay, no, you can keep that. You can keep the friendship then. But if they can be your friend and challenge, like those are some of the best friends in my opinion. Like if you've never had like a falling out with any of your friends, you never had like a real argument with any of your friends, are they really your friends? I don't know. That's just a little question on the side, because stuff happens and your friends, like, not saying that you and your friends don't click or y'all shouldn't get along, which y'all should, which is great. But if y'all can't challenge each other to go to another level and whatever it is, then I don't know, but that's anyway another conversation, maybe for a podcast or something. But he said this team will hurt Lamar's career. Oh, really? Sorry for the mini rant. Oh, and good coaching wins playoff games. Unless you have a defensive Peyton Manning, a.k.a. Ray Lewis, and a defensive wide receiver, a.k.a. Ed Reed. Just saying, man, keep up the good content. Appreciate you, man. Next question came from Phil Mon. He said, concerns continue. Can't even lie about this Bills game. I wasn't even mad, just disappointed, because I assumed this could happen a couple more times this season. Even next week against the Bengals, LOL. I saw this stat that the Ravens have been trailing for only 14 seconds this season, but we are 2-2. Yeah, that stat been flying around, and it's crazy to think about. Because that shows you just how the Ravens just a game of inches and they let opportunities slip away. Anyway, he said, interestingly enough, this season is unique with our defense telling our offense to go make some plays because they haven't done much of it so far. Well, they have early on. They just got to do it in the second half. But anyway, if by midseason, around Bucks, Saints, and bye week time, if Bowser and Houston can be fully back, have Ajabo back as the last guy on our depth for injury precaution, and JPP getting comfortable, do you believe our pass rush should be enough? We can hope so. We can hope so. Like, that's all we can do is hope. Because so far, it ain't been enough. But anyway, I believe McDonald will play a huge part, but my one concern with him is limiting the blitz, which I like, but we haven't had the personnel, which means no consistent pressure. Till our guys can be relatively healthy, I believe we should blitz a little more, especially with Hamilton and Clark. I couldn't believe they called that rough in the passer either until I realized Josh Allen complained first, then the flag came out. Yep, that's true. He said, Lamar, start crying to the refs too. I don't see him doing that. I don't. It could be used to his advantage, or he could at least try, but I just don't see him. I don't see him doing that, man. That just, like, I've seen, like, you see him get mad. If there's, like, a no call or something, he'll be, like, getting upset. He'll be hitting his helmet and going like that. Y'all know the thing he does, but I just don't see him being one of those whine to the ref types of quarterbacks. It don't seem like it's in his blood. But anyway, he said, as far as our offense, makes me sad we do these fourth downs because the two times we did it against the Dolphins, the first one was 3 points in the second. The play call could have been better, but I'm not too mad at Giro this year. I'm starting to get pretty frustrated with Harbaugh, though. The one against the Dolphins, there was that obvious one where we just knew Lamar wasn't going to keep it. Like, it was too obvious that Lamar was going to keep it. And I'm like, nah, they not going to do that. And they did it, and the way they ran it, it was terrible. Terrible decision. Not even a terrible decision to go for, but terrible decision how they set it up. But anyway, he said, I'm getting pretty frustrated with Harbaugh. His motivational speeches are making us Ravens fans yawn now. Stop putting all that pressure on Lamar to make every play. There's a reason we extended Justin Tucker. Sadly enough, ever since he was getting the crowd hyped after he put us up 17 in the Bills game, we never scored again. What are your thoughts? Will we get pressure on Burrow on Sunday night? Their O-line is bad, but our pass rush is worse. So no to me. Man, this could be a good confidence booster game for the pass rush. Because again, the pass rush has been very bad. It's been really bad. This game could do so much for the pass rush and just giving them that, like, okay, hold up, maybe we're back. And that would be great. But yeah. Still no Bowser. I expected Bowser to play this week. But no Bowser. He ain't even practiced yet, I don't think. Still no Justin Houston. Obviously no Ajabo, but not expecting him for a while. So, I don't know, man. I don't know what to think about the pass rush. I would hope that whoever is out there, Adafe Away, Brandon Copeland, Jason Pierre-Paul, AJ Klein, maybe Malik Harrison. Maybe if they try that Patrick Queen thing we talked about earlier. Okay, now, hey, it could not hurt. It couldn't hurt. But anyway, the pass rush. I'm not really believing in the pass rush right now. But with the Bengals, it'd be nice to take advantage of their struggles with their pass protection. So. We'll see. Next question came from my guy Elijah. He said, what's up, Ingraven? Hope everything is well. What you in the fam? Let me get right to the question. I called Justin Matabike having a good game this past weekend against the Bills, and he delivered. I've been impressed with how he looks live and watching the film back. I really like his performances week 1, 3, and 4. What are your evaluation of Justin Madubuike and his performance in our trenches? Yeah, Madubuike, he's been doing his thing. And yeah, he was quiet in that Dolphins game. But other than that, he was loud in that Jets game. And he made some nice plays. And yeah, like you mentioned in both the Patriots and the Bills game. With Justin Madubuike, I thought with him, and I think it's always been the case, because we've seen flashes throughout, but we just hadn't seen consistency. And I think one of the biggest reasons that we hadn't seen consistency is because he was not a full-time player. But I think now with the injury to Michael Pierce, that's forced him out there a lot more than he was expected to be. With them having a young rookie, Travis Jones, and an older Calais Campbell, and Calais Campbell will be out there a lot. You see number 93 out there a lot. But the roster is put him in a situation to where it's expanded his role. So now we have been able to see a lot more of number 92 on the field making plays. Next question came from Dewan. He said, one of the roots of Ravens problems. I'm thinking about some of the Ravens problems. Have we ever considered scouting as a problem? We drafted first round picks which should be plug and play players. Examples, Patrick Queen was drafted to be a middle linebacker, but due to poor/mediocre play was made a weak side linebacker. But is paid first round middle linebacker money. Ronnie Stanley, one of the highest paid left tackles, and availability has been a concern. Adolphe Away, we all know his issues, so I'm not going to get into that. Kyle Hamilton has potential, but first round pick should be plug and play, not developmental projects. That's a conversation right there. That's a conversation right there. He said first round pick should be plug and play. I agree with that part wholeheartedly. And he said not developmental projects. Ooh, that's tricky because sometimes you may look at a first round. You may look at somebody that you want to take in the first round, and the potential is there. They may not be all the way there yet as a player, but the potential is there. So yeah, you like, hey, we want to take that risk on developing them. So it's tricky, but yeah, I do think they should definitely lean more on the side of being able to plug them in right away and they play. He said, and the list goes on. When we don't get starter play out of these first-round picks, it affects our salary cap because we have to sign free agents who have to play in their place due to them not being ready to be an NFL starter. We just need to hit on these early picks, just my opinion. I agree with that they need to hit on the early picks. They like, I mean, you really want them to hit on all their picks. But I think they certainly need to hit on the early ones too, because the early ones are always projected to get more playing time. So you certainly want to get those right. Yeah, so yeah, you nailed it. Anxiety before the Bengals game. Next question came from Sadarian. He said, "Hey, great. Hope you and the fam are well. Just wanted to share some of my pregame back and forth before Sunday night." He said, "Ravens are playing in prime time. Good thing." Okay. Ravens are playing at home. Bad thing. Yeah, because they 0-2 at the crib and they lost, the last 5? Don't want to extend that streak. Since it's a primetime game, Ravens will probably wear black jerseys. Good thing. Yeah, it is confirmed they black on black. Ravens secondary are arguably facing the best wide receiver trio in the league. Bad thing. Hey, this is what you put all the money in the secondary for games like this. Games like this. So, hey, let's see what these boys really got. Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, they healthy. Brandon Stevens is healthy. Whoever gonna be the cornerbacks that they put in after that, probably gonna be Pepe, Worley. So we'll see. They probably gonna have Jalen Alma-Davis inactive again, but we'll see. It's too early, but this is what you put all that money into the secondary for games like these, so you wouldn't get torched like you did last year. Even though everybody was hurt, but still, this is why. So. Anyway, he said, with that said, whoever claimed that receivers didn't want to come to the Ravens lied. Wide receivers love playing at the bank. They're just on the opposing team. And the last question on this episode came from Joel. He said, "What's good, Mr. Ingraven and team? Keep it clean." He said, "I'm going to say it took me a minute to get over this loss. It was like a sequel to a horror film when you know the ending. We saw us lose games like this all last year, and I assumed John learned a lesson, but I guess not. I know the season is young, and in my opinion, we have a Super Bowl caliber team. We have shown that we can dominate teams for 99% of the game. We are just not capable of finishing. But to me, this is a Super Bowl or bust year for everyone in the organization. But if we fall short, John and his entire staff has to go. I have a theory pertaining to John Harbaugh that I would like for all of us to consider. John Harbaugh is a former special teams coordinator, hence why our special teams have always been amazing. John, however, does not have any expertise on defense or on offense, which is why he has given a lot of power to both offensive and defensive coordinators. So when Wink calls zero blitz in overtime, when we all know that is not appropriate, he doesn't have to. Doesn't have the feel for the game to say no, don't do that. Call something else. Or when they go for it on fourth down, he does not know exactly what is the best call for the offense. He implicitly trusts Giro. This week during the press conference, he mentioned that we have a red zone specialist, a passing game specialist, and a wide receiver specialist. I'm not saying that having those positional coaches are bad, but my biggest worry is that the success of Lamar Jackson has been delegated to other people. John cannot help his quarterback, so they are hiring all these other people to come in and try to fix what's ailing our team. That's powerful right there. He said if John were a defensive-minded head coach and our defense was amazing like McDermott, Belichick, and Todd Bowles, then I can understand the delegation of offensive duties because at least you have a deep knowledge of defenses. If he had our offensive knowledge, he would know how to coach offenses and quarterbacks like Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan. When given great quarterbacks, these coaches have all maximized the team's potential and have delegated defensive duties to their coordinators. The reason why we should all be charged... The reason why we should all be Chargers and Cowboys fans is because the person who can help Lamar Jackson if we underachieve is Sean Payton. Not only can he coach a great quarterback, but he can coach offenses. Lamar's success will no longer be in the hands of other people solely, but in the hands of a coach who knows how to coach quarterbacks. The Chargers and Cowboys can get him if they underachieve because they have good quarterbacks and winning rosters that need a coach to help take them over the top. That's why he said we should all be Chargers and Cowboys fans, because if they win, then they would not get Sean Payton. But if they lose, they would have a greater chance of obtaining Sean Payton and the Ravens not obtaining him. But yeah, man, I've said it plenty of times that I don't feel like the Ravens are really maximizing Lamar Jackson. As a quarterback, I don't feel like they have. And I don't know if this current staff ever will. Not that they can't have success with Lamar Jackson as their quarterback, because they obviously can, but I just don't see him being maximized as a quarterback. Joe Flacco wasn't even maximized as a quarterback. So, I mean, it's the same story. I would love to see some things get turned around. It will take a lot of philosophy changes for things to be changed around. I don't know if those philosophy changes will happen. But I mean, and I've said the same thing too about Sean Payton. I do feel like he would certainly maximize Lamar's talents, but I don't see any scenario where Harbaugh's out and Payton's in. Next questions came from my guy Javo. I know I said the previous question was going to be the last, but I'm going to do a couple more. Next questions came from my guy Javo. He said, I read a statement from Tony Dungy saying Harbaugh doesn't trust the Ravens defense, and Rodney Harrison said, this is the worst defense in Ravens history. What are your thoughts? I mean, it's 4 games so far, and they certainly been struggling. They certainly been struggling. I mean, it's looking like they may be historically bad. Hopefully they won't be. Hopefully they can get things turned around. And against the Bills, they started to turn around. They definitely did, because to hold the Bills team to 23 points, to hold Josh Allen and them to what, 213 receiving or something like that. So yeah, they seem to be starting to click. But now we'll see against that trio of receivers. He said also, we don't have that go make a play player on defense like Aaron Donald. Who is our voice on defense? I mean, we got Marlon Humphrey. He's been making plays. We got Marcus Peters as well. And we would love to see him make even more plays. He's been playing good though, but we would like to see him make more plays. So yeah, I guess those guys. It's like Marlon Humphrey, I guess. Yeah, Marlon Humphrey, because he's been the most consistent playmaker for the Ravens through this first part of the season. So his other question, he said, John must go. Why go for it instead of kicking a field goal? I know we bashed Greg Roman, but he is not our problem. This is the second time we went scoreless in the second half. What needs to be done? I personally think we need a different defensive coordinator and a new head coach. Lamar will not re-sign with us if this continues. I saw the frustration in Lamar, and MP showed his frustration on the sideline about to choke out a coach. with that, it's that game was on like everybody. It was not just on Harbaugh's the infamous fourth down call. It was on Lamar. Lamar threw the pick early on where he threw it just too low. He also he started backpedaling. And the backpedaling, again, we've seen the backpedaling be good. We've seen the backpedaling work out bad. We've seen a little bit of both. But the backpedaling, and he threw it late. He missed. I know Mike Davis probably wasn't his first, second, or third read on that play. But Mike Davis was open on the third down before. Isaiah Likely, he was wide open. When Lamar started, he started running towards the end zone, and there were those two Bills defenders right in front of him. Isaiah Likely was behind them wide open. So Lamar messed up. Of course, the run blocking, the usual suspects. The defense, it's like with the defense, man, it was tough, man, because they played good overall. They obviously started giving up stuff in the second half, or actually late in the second quarter, a little before halftime. But yeah, I think it was 20-10 going into halftime. Yeah, I think they gave up a touchdown right before halftime, I believe. But anyway, it's just been a mix. That game was, again, it was on everybody. So hopefully we can start getting some wins and they can be on everybody. That would be a beautiful thing. As far as what needs to be done, Ravens just need to clean up little stuff. They need to clean up a bunch of the little stuff. He said, I think we need a different defensive coordinator, a new head coach. Now, I mean, if things keep going the way that they've been going overall, the Ravens going to get a different defensive coordinator. But hopefully Mike McDonald can turn stuff around. Again, last week was a slow start. But that might have been, week one was probably his best game. And this game was probably his, maybe his second best game. I know the game against the Patriots, they forced a bunch of turnovers, which was great. But they gave up a lot of yards. So yeah, I actually think turnover-wise, obviously the Patriots game was amazing. But I think this game, as far as I think this was one of Mike McDonald's second best game. I know it sounds weird, but I do. And he said Lamar will not re-sign with us if this continues. Well, that part. All right, last question for real now. It came from my boy Justin C. He said, good afternoon. I'm so frustrated at this team right now. Hopefully we get some players back this week. I don't put this loss on nobody. The refs made some bad calls, and we got too worked up on these drop interceptions. Patrick got to catch those interceptions. I think we need to go out and trade for a wide receiver because without Bateman, Mark and the rest of the wide receivers were locked. And I feel like if Justice Hill didn't get injured, I think we would have won it. But it is what it is. On to the Bengals. Hope you and the fam have a good one. And go Ravens. Oh, man. Well, wait, what wide receiver they going to trade for? I think with the Ravens, I think with the wide receiver thing is just, I don't see them making no big moves there. I mean, again, they just signed Andy Isabella, Riley Webb to the practice squad. I think they're just going to staying pat for the rest of the season as far as their wide receivers. I don't see them doing anything major there. But so we'll see. But anyway, he also said, I'm still mad after that, but it's all good. When it's all said and done, we will be holding a Super Bowl trophy. But anyway, if the defense played how they played in the first half and the offense played like they did in the first half, we would have won. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, they definitely would have. But they didn't, and they don't. So if the first half Ravens could always match if the second half Ravens could always match the first half Ravens would be undefeated right now, and none of their games would be close. He said the defense got to step up, and if Greg see the passing game ain't working for Lamar, he got to change it up and run the ball. You and the fam have a good one. What if you can't run the ball? What if you're unable to run the ball? Because they haven't been able to run the ball like that. And now they lost their best runner, Justice Hill. They lost the guy who's been their best runner this season, in Justice Hill. So now J.K., he's looked good, and hopefully he's like back all the way, which he's getting there. But now it's up to Drake, Drizzy Drake, and Mike Davis too. I wonder if they'll activate Tyler Beatty.
Yeah, this feels like a dream.